Hey, this is Lana and I wanted to do a work day, but it's a different kind of work day. Y'all don't tend to like these kind of work days. You mainly like me upstairs in my long arm room, but I'm getting kind of bored. And I'm sure you are too, so I wanted to share something different with you. Initially, my business was embroidery, and that's what kind of started kicking it off. I was not necessarily a piecer or a quilt top maker. I was not really a long armer. As a matter of fact, I started embroidering in 2002, and I started long arming in 2000, December of, well, I got my machine 2009. So yeah, so come with me. We're gonna do embroidered pillowcases. So that's what this video is gonna be about. So let's go. If you have one machine, for years I used only one machine, and there's no shame in that. I believe in using the resources that you have, and also not getting in too much debt, because these machines are expensive, and initially I paid for one and it took me a while to pay it off, and I started my business with that. And I'm one of those people that don't like building a lot of debt, so one machine will work for you for a long time. As a matter of fact, you can find these machines pretty cheaply now, but and they're worth the money. Whatever you invest in them, you will get it back. And as a matter of fact, the one behind me, I think it's a EMP6. I had that since 2002, maybe in 2000, I don't remember. So I've had it quite a while. And just recently I had just the screen replaced for me, and it cost me $500. Now they don't make parts for it, so she's an old gem, but you can't go wrong with these machines. They last forever. I use this Tearaway. I get it at Amazon. It's really inexpensive, and the way you know it's Tearaway is because it just tears. And I'm going to put the name on the bottom. I use 2 to 3 layers of Tearaway Stabilizer. The reason I use, and this is a heavyweight Tearaway, you can't really see through it. It's kind of hefty, kind of Tearaway. The reason you want more Tearaway on your lettering is because Tearaway tears away. Literally, it just tears off the name, and you want it heftier because it keeps the lettering stiff. Now, it would be better if you use a cutaway stabilizer, but then you'll have the cutaway inside the pillowcase and it kind of looks ugly, which I guess it'd be okay. But if you use like 2 or 3 layers of a stiffer Tearaway, and the way you can stiffen it more is add more layers, I like it better because it holds the shape of the lettering when the client goes and washes this. A lot of times when people use Tearaway, they only use one, so when it's washed it wrinkles in itself and kind of falls apart. It caves in. You want it to hold its shape and structure, so 2 or 3 layers are your friends, or even 4. You want to thicken it a bit more so that it holds its shape. But yeah, Tearaway Stabilizer. I'm going to bring you down so you can see how I'm going to hoop it. It is 4, let's see, 4, almost 5. So I'm going to do about 2, give or take. It's almost 5, so we're going to do about 2, right here. Find center here. So you want to find center wide-wise and find center up and down. And this way you know where you want to place the hoop. Like I said, I always have the hoop upright in an upright position so that if I need to loosen or tighten it, I can. And a lot of times when you're first starting, that's what you're doing. You're kind of like fiddling. If you're doing just lettering, it's okay for the hoop to be off. If you're doing a closed design, like a closed logo, you need to make sure that this really goes all the way around, even passes it, or you'll find where that design will shift on you and it'll shift as it's embroidering. So, but in lettering, you can kind of do this, where it doesn't have to be centered hoop to hoop. Now, I love Baby Lock or even Brothers hooping system because they have grids, so you know exactly where the design is going to sit from the computer to your material. Hooping is a pain I know there's other easier hooping systems, but after you get comfortable, it's not that big a deal. So there it is. Here's a straight line here this way and a straight line above, and you're on the X. So here's my X. I am lined up this way straight, and I'm lined up this way straight, and that's what you want. So I measure the center, and so when I put the name down on the center and I size it, it will be exactly where it needs to be, because here's my X. So this is the starting screen on my Baby Lock EMP6. The screen on the PR620 or 600 is the same exact screen. So here's my letter, and I'm going to, with a large R, and then here's large, medium, or small, and you can size it down to size, so you could save yourself some time. And then it's lowercase here, numbers, and weird lettering here, EECE. That's the name. These are the hoop sizes, so I could have a very small hoop, medium hoop, and here's the size that I want to make it. I already found center, so I don't have to worry about placement here, because I already found placement here. If I found center here, that's exactly where the center is, here. And so this is the hoop I'm using, and it is not getting any bigger. Well, I could go bigger if I wanted to. I told the client that I was going to use about 4, give or take 4 squares down, 4 squares this way and 4 squares this way, depending on the name. And so I'm going to make the name as big as I can. There it is. We're going 3, 1, 2, 3 down, and give or take 3. So once you have the sizing, the rotation, and the placement, which is this screen, this is like your editing area of what you want to do, and then you move to ending the edit. And after you end the edit, you could still edit here, like meaning you can move the design up if you need to, move it down if you need to, or center. And here you can see on the machine where it's going to be placed. I tend to use this when I'm doing bags because I use a different type of hooping system and it doesn't have this grid thing. So it helps me kind of mark with the marking pen, water soluble or chalk pen, to tell me where I'm going to be. So then I push that button. I'm going into the sewing. I'm going to pick the thread color. My thread is number 2 right there. I'm going to hit number 2 and I'm going to exit there. And I know that it's going to embroider that green. And here it is. So this is a finished embroidery design. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to unhoop it. And what you can do is, like I said, this is Tearaway. And you just kind of tear it off. It tears off of the material. Tearaway is a really great stabilizer for, like, if you're doing satins, silks, sheer material. I always like also Tearaway when I'm doing towels and blanket, like lushy full blankets. Now the reason I do, like I said, 2 layers is you want the lettering to be stiff a bit so that when she washes it, it doesn't collapse on her. And so yeah, that's why I use 2 or 3 layers. About, give or take, 2.5, almost 3 inches. I don't want it as high because I wanted to give room for the brim and also room here so that it kind of breathes a little bit and it's not too big. So this is emery.